Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and get started with the meeting. We'll start the meeting with the invocation by Mike Elam, our county councilman, and then he'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father God, we come before you tonight just thanking you for the opportunity to live in a great country where we enjoy such wonderful freedoms. And I know, Lord, sometimes we just take those freedoms for granted, but I would pray that you would keep us mindful of the freedoms that we have and the honor that we have to live in this country and how we got those freedoms. And I would pray that we would continue to be mindful of the price that was paid to get those. As we go before this meeting, I pray for your wisdom, that you would give us the discernment that we need to make the decisions that are the best need of this county and for the people that we serve. We ask all this in your name. Amen. Amen. Let's pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Joe Cronin.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Elam.
Here.
Councilmember Dave Hammond.
Here.
Councilmember Joe Brazel.
Here.
Councilmember Terry Hollander.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Klinghammer.
Here.
Councilmember John White.
Here.
Public comments will allow 3 speakers per topic, 3 pro and 3 con. We'll allow you to speak for 3 minutes, and you can come up and speak to us on any topic concerning county business or anything you want to talk about. First speaker, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council, A.C. Dienoff, county resident and public advocate. You know, I came before this council 2 weeks ago, and I have not heard iota or any response from any staff member or any staff member of this county council. This county administration loves to ignore issues and problems and allows them to continue and to fester instead of investigating the crux of any given situation. The administration's current policy is to ignore, never reply to emails, never return phone calls, never to look into public grievances or issues brought to county government. Their policy is to write nothing in an electronic format. In today's age, that is just plain, simple, wrong, and a violation of law, in my opinion. No one of the county administration ever follows up, nor contacts me about issues that I bring to the table to better our great community of over 400,000 county residents. 2 weeks ago, I asked that Tim Lohmeyer, the county prosecutor, I'm very concerned about the slam dunk in your face, unethical and illegal closed session meeting held by the county Community College Board of Trustees in the selection of his mother for the position of the vacancy of the current trustee from the passing of his father. This board did it within 4 days, which was disrespect to his father's burial, and the county prosecutor needs to launch an investigation. I had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Lohmeyer just a few minutes ago at the Ferguson Commission meeting held here in St. Charles City. He stated to me that a special prosecutor needs to be hired by this county administration or the county councilor to get the ball rolling. Also, law enforcement needs to take a proper police report and do the proper vetting and investigation into violations of Chapter 178 and 610 of the state statute. There was a closed meeting held in which the president of the college and the board staff secretary were asked to leave the meeting. This appointment was discussed in closed-door environment in violation of Chapter 610. Yet, it will now cost taxpayers $250,000 next year and $2 million over the next decade to hold countless elections. Does anyone in this county even care about this issue? The public was never notified of this vacancy, never asked to participate in this process, totally in violation of law and against the spirit of democracy and a republic. The city of Dart and Prairie did the right thing. They had a mayor who resigned. The president of the Board of Aldermen became the mayor. And now they're advertising and asking information of people interested in the municipality that the process is open to anyone who qualifies for the position and wants to become involved in city government. I'm asking this county council to authorize the administration, the county councilor, to hire a special prosecutor to investigate these allegations. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other speakers on that topic? Are there any other speakers on any other business with the county?
Hi, folks. I get to play Grumpy Grandpa. Name's Tony Shepard, county resident. I'm county, not city or anything out there. I've got 2 residents, one on Highway P next to Dames Park up there, the other one up on Minnie Road. It's the old Werner farm up in there. It's a nice private drive. We're back in the woods. I like it that way. City don't like me, and I really don't like them. So we're in agreement. I'm an old guy, and I'm old cantankerous. I fought for our freedoms a long time ago, and I expect to have the freedoms that I fought for. What I'm here to air my grievance about is code enforcement, or as they like being called, neighborhood beautification. I still think it's just code enforcement. It's a lot of stuff that folks have put together on it without a lot of folks' knowledge on it to begin with. Case in being, I've got a S10 Chevy pickup truck, got a tag on the front of it parked on Highway P residence. There's no bumper on the back, no tag on the back. It's BL12. I've always run a whole lot of my trucks, 6 or 7 of them. I've never had a tag on the back of many of the trucks. Been at that house since '85. I've never received a summons, never received a citation. Now the county's after me to say, well, you need to mail in your registration and proof of registration that you have a registered truck on that property. I'm here to tell you, you can go pound sand. Excuse me. Yeah, you thought I was going to say something else, didn't you? It ain't going to happen. What am I going to do? Start with 1 and then have 6 and 7 and 8, quite a few of my other trucks still mailing in registration? You know, if it's not legal, then the sheriff or the police department can pick me up. It's been parked there. I inherited several of them. Unfortunately, my son passed away, and I'm going through several of it, going through a headache trying to get rid of it. The court, Mr. Drew, we've tried to work it out, and he goes, no, we're going to take you to trial. Or, now we can dismiss this for $10 in cost. Excuse me, but I've already paid for it once. I'm not going to pay you $10 in cost to pay for it again. Senate Bill 5, I do a lot of legislation down in Jeff City. I've already told a lot of reps about this, and we got some senators working on this St. Charles County fiasco, what I'm calling it. It's another issue of municipal court, the old taxation through citation. I've sat in that court many times, and I've seen many people come up inside there, just $10 in cost, just $10 in cost. Looked up at the judge. He says, well, we'll just take it to trial. I got to get my other people in. He says, I don't know the judge's name. I know the prosecutor was in here a little bit ago. He goes, the judge looks down at me from the bench. He goes, you might as well just go ahead and pay the cost. This prosecutor doesn't lose many cases. Well, when I'm hearing that from a judge, I'm kind of looking up at the judge. You know something, sir? If you're going to be my judge over here, I can see why the prosecutor doesn't lose too many cases, because you're already going to say, I want your money. It's not if you're right or not. The county wants your money. He's going to do his job and collect dollars out of my pocket. Real quick on some notes. It's just a constant harassment from them. They'll come up, they'll check something out. You go get it fixed. They'll come out again and check something out. They got to come out and check it, make sure you fixed it. Well, they'll find something else. They'll check it. Well, they might find something else. Well, a lot of these other else's have been there the whole time when they first came out. I had a 54-foot semi-trailer, okay? Small trailer.
Sir, we do allow
54
3
foot.
minutes, so just-
Okay, am I at that?
Yeah.
54-foot trailer, parked there for 7 years. And he finally goes, well, you can't have that. I filed for a waiver 7 years ago. County goes, well, we didn't finish our paperwork. Well, let's finish it. Well, we can't do that now. My question to him at that time is can't or won't. I moved the trailer. So, but
We
I've
just,
got,
just so you know, we had a meeting last Tuesday on this issue that you're speaking of.
Okay.
And Mike Klinghammer is your county councilman, and we are dealing with it because.
Mike or Joe?
Oh, I'm sorry, up your way.
Okay.
We are looking into some of these.
It's just constant. It's on. I've got a lot of neighbors out there bitching and moaning. Sorry. Moaning about it too. It's just ongoing. There's a lot of businesses out in Flint Hill. I think Bear up in there, he's had a heck of a time with his restaurant. It's just ongoing, and it just where does it stop? You know, the harassment side of it. Are you trying to make up a job position for yourself?
I think,
Make
Mr.
yourself-
Cronin, you can deal with it.
Yeah, this is the
directly.
first I heard about it tonight, and I already told
I
him.
spoke to you a little bit real quick
Give
on
me
it.
all the information, and I'll review it.
All right, it's time to stop.
Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. Is there anybody else out there that'd like to speak at this time? Seeing none, that closes public comments. Moving on to the oral report from the county executive, which will be presented by Dave Hammond and Mike Elam.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate the opportunity and the honor. Councilman Hammond and I are the two veterans who are on the county council, and it's our honor today to introduce a couple speakers who are doing two special presentations. We have a representative here from the Employers Supportive Guard and Reserve, or ESGR, and Show Me Heroes. And the first presentation is going to be with David Woolley, who is the St. Louis area chair of ESGR, and he will present the ESGR Statement of Support. And Councilman Hammond will introduce our other speaker with that presentation. Dave?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Council. As mentioned, I represent the Employer Support from the Guard and Reserve, or ESGR, and serve the greater St. Louis area in their efforts to promote the good relationship between members of the Guard and Reserve and employers and other entities within the greater St. Louis area. The mission of the ESGR is twofold. As I mentioned, it is to inform members of the Guard and Reserve and employers of their rights and responsibilities under the USERRA Act, to reward employers and entities that go above and beyond in their efforts, and we are mandated as well to find meaningful career positions for military members, their families and veterans, their spouses, and their adult children that live at home. And we do this with great zeal and honor. I would like to commend the county for their signing of a statement of support on behalf of our shared efforts for military families. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Jerry Studstill, veteran employee representative from the American Job Center.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. I represent the Governor's Department of Workforce Development and the Department of DED at the state level. I am the local Veterans Employment Rep for Montgomery, Warren, Lincoln, and St. Charles County. We are delighted to have St. Louis County to become I think as I checked today, we have 4,200 employers a member of Governor Nixon's program called Show Me Heroes. The governor made a private trip to Afghanistan, Iraq back in 2010. He met with several Missouri veterans and asked, how may we in Missouri help you when you return home? And the one comment that he heard over and over again, Governor, we would like to know that there's good, meaningful employment for us so that we can support not only ourselves, but our family. So we're delighted, again, as I say, that St. Charles County and its practices through its HR program certainly will be considering the hiring of veterans, both from the reserves, both from the active military, and also the other group. And I can't think of the other group right now. I should be able to do that. What's that? National Guard. Oh my, I'm in trouble with them, the National Guard. So we have hired over the period of time over 7,400 veterans. And so, again, we appreciate you. We will be supporting you. I've met Frank, who works within the HR department here as a veteran rep. And so let's move forward and reassure these men and women who have served us faithfully that we will be with them as they move back into, or for the first time, into the civilian labor force. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed?
Motion for approval of the consent agenda is submitted.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The consent agenda has been approved. Moving on to bills for introduction. Bill 4230.
Bill number 4230, request by Wayne Anthony, sponsored by Mike Klinghammer, an ordinance granting conditional use permit CUR 15-000001 for boat and trailer storage to John Netsch.
Any questions or comments on Bill 4230?
Joe.
Yep.
Mr. and Mrs. Netsch are here tonight, and I met with them, I spoke with them. This zoning, this conditional use permit makes all the sense in the world. I went down and saw the property myself. It's immaculate. They keep it like a park down there. And traditionally, that's where he's kept his boat, so it's just bringing it into compliance with our rules. They are here tonight. If anybody had any questions, I think they're going to be traveling when this comes up for final passage. So if anybody had any questions, they're available tonight.
How many boats is it, Mike?
2 boats, 2 trailers.
So they need a conditional use permit for that?
Yep. There's no house on the property anymore.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Moving on to Bill 4231.
Bill number 4231, requested by Wayne Anthony, sponsored by Joe Brazel, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from A Agricultural District 5-acre minimum lot size to RR Single Family Residential District 3-acre minimum lot size as per application RZ 15-000003.
Any questions or comments on Bill 4231? Is there, who's in here? You want to come up here a minute, Jim? This, you're just gonna, I guess the estate's just staying in place, is that what your plan is? The old house and everything?
The old house is actually not part of the property.
Okay.
It sits on a 3-acre lot that this property surrounds, and in fact, it's owned by the bank.
Oh, okay, so you're just doing the development around it. These are all 3-acre lots?
Actually, they're closer to 4 acres in size.
Okay, all right, sounds good. I don't have any questions. Anybody got any questions? Thanks, sir. Moving on to Bill 4232.
Bill number 4232, request by Dwayne Kinley and Belinda Little, sponsored by Joe Brazel, an ordinance amending the 2015 budget adopted by ordinance 14-109 to amend a position classification and pay grade within the St. Charles County Emergency Communications Systems and amending section 115.710 of the ordinances of St. Charles County, Missouri, OSCCMO, concerning the Personnel Administration Plan.
Any questions or comments on 4232? Seeing none, moving on to 4233.
Bill number 4233, request by Steve Elman, Dave Todd, Rich Krismer, sponsored by Joe Brazel, an ordinance amending the 2015 budget adopted by ordinance 14-109 by providing funds to accommodate increased concealed carry permit activity within the police department and providing funds to accommodate cost of an election in August 2015 within the Election Authority Fund.
Any questions or comments on Bill 4233? Dave, is this on you? Or is this, who's?
Yes. It's the concealed carry permit.
All right, so what exactly is this? Is just moving money around because we brought in more funding? Is that what it is, or what exactly?
We have to pay, I apologize, Chief, for speaking for you, but, so we have to pay for the background checks when people come in for the CCWs. And the fees that people pay fund it, but we've had more applications than we anticipated. So we need additional budgetary authority to be able to take in that income and pay for those background checks. Anything else?
Yeah, Joe?
Does the permit cost in general cover those fees that we charge?
Yes.
Okay.
So the permit fees aren't going up at all? You're just moving some funding around, correct?
Creating additional space. So we planned a certain number of permits would be requested this year, say 1,500. I don't remember what the exact number was. We're already past that. We need more appropriation authority and more ability to buy the background checks.
We did not anticipate the numbers that we are getting.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, moving on to the next bill.
Bill number 4234, request by Steve Elman, sponsored by Joe Brazel. An ordinance waiving liquor license fees for certain concession operations of the Parks and Recreation Department of the City of St. Charles for the period July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. Whereas the St. Charles County Parks and Recreation Department requests the fees for liquor license for certain concessions operations of the City of St. Charles Parks and Recreation Department be waived. Now therefore be it ordained by the County Council of St. Charles County, Missouri as follows. Section 1, the county registrar is hereby authorized and directed to waive liquor license fees for the City of St. Charles Parks and Recreation Department facilities in Blanchette Park, McNair Park, Mueller Park, and Wapplehorse Park for the period July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. Section 2, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after the date of its passage and approval.
Any questions or comments on 4234?
I have a question.
Yes, Joe.
Did we also waive those fees for like O'Fallon Parks and Recreation or Wentzville Rotary Park or?
If they ask, we waive them. We do occasionally get them from other jurisdictions. We always get them from the City of St. Charles.
Okay, but it's per request. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could also add a quick comment. This is an entirely different set of circumstances than, for instance, getting a building permit where there is actually a fee for services rendered. This is largely just ceremonial. It's something that the statutes allow for cities and counties to issue liquor licenses, but we don't really perform any service. So I think it's entirely appropriate that we waive these sort of fees for another jurisdiction. But in the case of a situation where you're actually having to provide some work, that would be certainly a distinction between this kind and that.
Okay, do they waive the fees for, like if other public entities, colleges, schools, or even churches, do they waive those fees?
For liquor licenses?
Yeah.
As the Director of Administration said, I don't believe we've ever had a request for that.
Would they if it was
I certainly don't
not-for-profit?
remember one.
If they know they can.
Would they if it's non-for-profit is my question.
I don't think we would do that for a not-for-profit, but for another governmental agency, we'd probably consider that.
What, Mike?
I was going to say, if this is something we do every year, why don't we just pass an ordinance that they're exempt?
I don't
It'd
care.
be more
You can do that
efficient
if you want.
than introducing it and going through all the mental gymnastics.
If we're going to do that, then we also need to be, I think, exempt O'Fallon, Wentzville, and other government entities.
Yes, of course.
Communi-
I assumed all of them.
Community college, example.
Well, I mean, that's where does it go? I mean, if
Yeah,
you're
where do
doing
we
it for
go?
them, why don't you do it for the churches too? But I mean, I don't know, where's it go? I don't know how far you go with it, that's what I'm saying. 'Cause, I mean, government gets privilege over everybody else. I don't know. That's your call, you guys talk about it. What do you want to do? You want to
Bob, could you get back to us with the revenue of how much is generated from these? Thank you.
Could I
That'd be
ask
probably
a
the
question?
pertinent thing to do is, before we cut it, find out how much we're cutting.
May I ask a question of the county councilor? Is there a distinction here between the ability to waive a license fee as opposed to exempting people from having to obtain a license? Which is, I think, the question.
Well, yes, because one is a legislative act that is permanent, the other is an administrative decision made upon request. But I think what...
Let me ask it a different way. Can you do both?
Please do.
Yeah, you could.
Okay.
But there is a distinction.
I didn't know if it was because there was a state law that said you had a county liquor license.
The state law, if I am correctly remembering it, authorizes the fees, it doesn't mandate them, but I
Okay.
can confirm that.
Thank you.
But we're just waiving the fee, not correct.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, thank you. Any table bills to be removed? Okay, do I have any announcements or miscellaneous comments? None? Motion?
Motion.
Motion to adjourn, we are adjourned. Thank you.
25 minutes.